The Indian automotive industry can sometimes be confusing for new car buyers. No, I'm not speaking about the sheer number of models on sale in India, but also about the amount of different transmission options you can pick. Of course, there is the good old manual or the MT, but then again, there are other options. The low-cost AGS or AMT, the city-based IVT or CVT, the performance-based dual-clutch DCT or DSG, and of late, iMT or the intelligent manual transmission. Now, iMT is the latest introduction in the world of transmissions, and for the Indian market, it was Kia who got this technology into the industry. Now, today they sell the iMT in the Seltos and the Sonet, and of course in the Carens. And to explain the technology, how to use the gearbox, how to change the gears, will you stall the car, is the performance compromised in any way? Basically, all the questions will be answered and all the doubts will be cleared. Now the first question, is the iMT heavy on your pocket? Not really. Now this one, the 3-row Carens with the diesel and the iMT has a starting price of under 13 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi. So yes, much like the AGS or the AMT technology, this is a semi-automatic but without all the jerks and the smoothness factor coming in. Of course, you can also have control over the stick shift in the gearbox. Secondly, for the routine maintenance for the iMT diesel version, well, I went to Kia's website, the Indian website, to the service calculator, and for the first 5 services for 5 years or 50,000 kilometers, you have to pay less than 20,000 rupees. So even the maintenance charge or the service charge of the iMT is not more than the manual of the Carens. By the way, manual is no more on sale. So in terms of the purchase value or the service value for the iMT, all doubts cleared. Now to the important part. How do you drive the iMT Carens? Well, let's step inside. Now once inside, the biggest question is how to start an iMT transmission car. I'll do one thing. I'll switch off the car from the right side, push button start. The car is off, it's been unlocked, and what you do is when you are parking the car, the handbrake should be up like this. And how to start an iMT car. Now if the gearbox is not in neutral, it's neutral right now, the car will not start. I'll show it to you. I'll do one thing. I'll shift into first and I'll try to start the car. My right foot has to be on the brake pedal and I can press the push button start. Nothing will happen. Once more, I'll try to push the button. It says shift to neutral to start the engine. So if the transmission is not in neutral in the iMT, it will not start. Let me now go back to neutral. I'm in neutral right now. And here we go. The car has started. So very basic rule for the iMT to start, you have to be in the neutral. However, you can stop the car in any gear. I can go into first gear. I can switch off the car from here. No worries. So starting the car has to be neutral. Switching off has to be any gear. However, if you're switching off the car in neutral, remember to pull up the handbrake. Second thing, you have started the car. How do you go about driving the iMT transmission? Super simple. There is no clutch, but what you get is a very big area to rest your left foot. Though there is no clutch, it's race, brake, and there is no clutch. So basically what you do is you go into the first gear like this. You can do that without a brake or with the brake, but for safety reasons, always press the brake. I go into the first gear. The same comes in over here. What I do is I leave the brake and we start moving because it's got a very good creep function. So in traffic conditions, without any input from the right pedal, you can still go up to about 6 to 7 kmph. You can see I am not pressing the right pedal. So in starts of traffic, you stop, you lift off the brake, you again start moving. So it's called the creep function, and the clutch basically is being automated right now to give you some kind of push coming inside traffic conditions. Next question, can you start off in the second gear at a standstill? Well, you can do that. I'll go into second. The same comes in over here. I lift off the brake pedal. See, there is no gas being given and the creep function comes in and we start moving. Of course, if I give the gas, we'll go at a higher speed. So all this is being done automatically by the clutch system. You don't have to do that. By the way, we're on a dead end road. It's completely safe what I'm doing right now. So this road ends over there, no traffic. What happens if I go into the third gear at a standstill? It says please shift down. Same for the fourth or the fifth. So if it knows the RPM is going to be very less, it will not start. Anyways, back to the first gear we go. And how do you shift the gears? So whenever you want to shift at a suitable RPM, just go down onto the second gear and automatically the clutch comes in, the gearbox works, you go into the second gear. What happens is, I'll just show you, let me go into the third gear as well. Say 25-30 you want to upshift, look at that, third gear. So what happens is, I'll just stop the car to be super safe. What happens is, the moment you touch this, the moment this function happens, or you go into first, the moment this starts moving, the sensors know that the gear shift is going to happen. So it happens very seamlessly. I'll again show it to you with the GoPro on the speedometer. First gear, let me gas it. Second gear, third gear, and if I go into the sixth gear, please shift down. So the sensors know that the RPM should not go down below a certain point. So basically you can start in the first or second. Upshifting is very easy. What happens when you're upshifting? Should you leave the gas? It's completely up to you. If you leave the gas, well and good. If you don't leave the gas, the sensors will do that for you. For example, if I shift from second to third without leaving the gas, the RPM drop will still happen. I'll show it to you. So I'll do one thing. I'll gas it up in the second gear. I will not leave the gas and I'll go to third gear. Look at this. You saw the RPM drop now to the fourth gear. So the drop happens for a fraction of a second just to ensure there is no damage to any of the internal systems. Now, is this boring? Well, it is not. You can wheel spin in an iMT. I'll show it to you how. For that, you have to do one thing. Switch off the traction control. At neutral, rev the car. And as you rev the car, when you leave the gas, go onto the brake, go to first, back on the gas. So basically, you gas it up, first gear, brake and leave. I'll show this to you from the outside. Next thing, Bunny, can you stall the vehicle? Well, it will not happen. I'll do one thing. I'll go at around 30 kmph onto the third gear, second, third gear, and I'll leave the transmission in the third gear, which you can see over here, and I'll come to a standstill. Nothing happens apart from the fact that please shift down. The clutch has been pulled. We are at approximately 700 RPM. Gearbox in the third gear. The car has not stalled. Another question is, can we skip gears? Sometime in manual cars we do 1, 3, 5. Yes, you can very much do that. Again, I go into the first gear. Keep an eye on this. My first gear is there and I'll immediately go into the third gear. No worries, the clutch takes care of that. So you can skip gears in this one as well. Another thing the system will do for you is to rev match. For example, I'm doing 50 kmph. I come into the second gear. Look at what happens. Do second gear and the rev match. So you can do that. Very helpful for your hilly terrains where you want the engine braking to come. Yes, the engine braking stays in the iMT. Another question for red lights. Should you be in the neutral with the brakes or the hand brakes, or can you be in the first gear for a few seconds? I think no issues. I'll do one thing. I'm in neutral right now. Even if I go into the first gear, I don't feel any jerk coming in or the brakes holding up. So for a few seconds, you can be in the first gear. You know the red light is going to turn green. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Yes, you can be in the first gear. Not always be in neutral. So yeah, this is also sorted. Now, before we end this video, one more aspect about the wear and tear of the clutch component. Now, what is happening here is that everything is being automated in the best possible manner for efficiency, for performance, and for the durability. For example, in start-stop moving traffic, for example, I'm in Russia traffic right now. In start-stop moving traffic, in a manual transmission, not everyone is experienced enough to use the clutch properly. Some people end up slipping it and burning it unnecessarily. Likewise, unknowing, a lot of people, they end up riding the clutch, as in you're driving but your left foot is resting on the clutch. So even in that scenario, the clutch is burning. Likewise, you are off to the hills and you need to start from a standstill on an uphill section. Again, some people will end up burning the clutch or slipping the clutch. But in all these scenarios, start and stop traffic, normal driving, hilly terrains, the clutch basically action is being automated in the most precise manner. That means in most cases, apart from enthusiasts and who know how to drive properly, in most cases in the iMT,
the wear and tear will be as much as in the normal manual transmission. So do not fear that you have to replace the clutch plates in a less time period as compared to manual. That is not the case over here.
And that brings us to the end of the video. I think every single doubt or question on the iMT technology has been answered in the last few minutes. At the same time, if I miss anything guys, please let me know in the comment section below and I promise to get back to you as soon as possible. So our verdict on the iMT technology, well, I think it's cost effective and it's got a lot of plus points coming in from the convenience of an automatic, and in the long run, it won't really be burning any hole in your pocket.